here is what I know about Hasan. He romanticizes, lionizes, and idolizes Vladimir Lenin. Do you know how many people, millions of people, died under his regime?
Hutch. This is a dodge. This is a dodge.
Hutch said he would rather vote for Jeffrey Epstein over
You are welcome for the content, by the way.
Because I lionize the lion himself, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin.
Thank you for making my fucking point.
Yeah, Lenin was fucking awesome.
There you go. Okay. That's why, at minimum, this is a difficult decision. At minimum, this is something that you would have to think about. Okay.
I have a question for you, Hutch. As between Piers Morgan and Hasan PIKER, who are you more mad at based on their coverage?
Who do I think does more harm, you mean?
Both mad at and harm.
I don't know. That's hard to say. I think they do different kinds of harm. I think Piers Morgan, he thrives and capitalizes off of really thought terminating idiotic debates that can be sort of entertaining in the way that two dumpster trucks colliding at 90 miles per hour in 4K, 500 frames per second is entertaining. But I think Hasan is very actively creating a permission structure to not support the Democratic nominee in 2028. And I think he is more consumed with a delusional fantasy that he's this leader of a vanguard movement of a new kind of socialist party.
Yeah, Piers is delusional on Trump and claiming that what I mean to say is basically the following in response to what should be done with them. It almost feels like a mafia line. Should something be done with them? I just feel that we should respond to them as appropriate, call out their bad takes as appropriate. But the obsession is something I don't understand. The obsession is something I don't understand, and why, as opposed to someone like Piers Morgan, as opposed to Joe Rogan, as opposed to Dave Smith. I see a Dave Smith tweet, I fucking respond. But Hutch, it seems personal.
No. What I find personally aggrieving about Hasan is that I think his actions and his attitudes, and it's not just him. I don't just talk about him. I'm very focused on him in the last week because of what he said. And I think it kind of vindicates what I've been saying, what I've been trying to tell people about this part of the internet, that they are destructive, they are arsonists. What I find particularly aggrieving about this is that I think it leads to really bad outcomes where people get hurt. We ended a program that is estimated to have saved 91 million lives from 2001 to 2021. USAID is estimated to have saved 91 million lives. We can restart that program again if we elect a Democrat president and potentially spare 10 to 15 million dead people over the next 10 years.
Do you think I don't agree with everything you're telling me right now?
I'm laying out my reasoning. And so if I focus on one person, it's because I think there's value in attacking that viewpoint. And I think the people that say, why are you so obsessed with Hasan? This reminds me of when people say why are you so obsessed with Donald Trump? It's well, the reason I'm talking about Hasan so much is because he's literally one of the top streamers in the world. He's insanely influential. And I think there needs to be people that are out there actively trying to discredit his idiotic, vapid, grifty bullshit.
But Hutch, and I would say it is Hutch. Can we turn it around on you? Would you commit to voting for Hasan over JD Vance in the general?
I already told you I would Minecraft myself if you made me choose between
the two. Come on, that's a cop out, Hutch.
I would literally do that. I'm not even kidding.
No, that's not the question. You said Epstein. So it seems like you're saying that you prefer to vote for Jeffrey Epstein than Hasan PIKER by transitive property of equality.
Wait, hold on. The choices are Jeffrey Epstein and Hasan.
No. So you said you would vote for Jeffrey Epstein in a Democrat suit, and so that's already given. And you're equivocal. You have a different position, seemingly, on Hasan PIKER running against JD Vance. And it seems like, based on that, the transitive property, therefore Epstein is preferable to Hasan PIKER as leader.
I think understand.
That just logically follows.
I don't understand how much more Hasan needs to say for people to realize.
Can you respond to what I just said about the Epstein comparison to Hasan PIKER?
Don't do the debate bro thing. I'm going to say what I have to say. I don't know how many more things Hasan needs to say before people fully understand that he does not believe in liberal democracy. He is a
I just made a point about Epstein. I'm not going off this point, Hutch. I'm not going off this point.
He's a Marxist-Leninist. No, you're trying to moralize about Epstein and whatnot. And we're talking about a guy who...
You think Hasan is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it shows you, Hutch. That's what it shows you.
What is Jeffrey Epstein?
You did when you said I would vote for Epstein over fucking JD Vance.
Tell me, what is Jeffrey Epstein's policy platform?
Dude, you don't need to know Jeffrey Epstein's policy.
You don't need to know. Here's what I know about it.
You said you voted for him on abortion.
You don't need. You voted for him over JD Vance.
Here is what I know about that. Here is what I know about Hasan. He romanticizes, lionizes, and idolizes Vladimir fucking Lenin. Do you know how many people, fucking millions of people, died under his regime?
This is a dodge. This is a dodge.
No, you're doing prime ties.
This is a dodge. This is
you're doing prime ties. Yes, you are.
No, this is not prime time. This is not prime time. No, I'm not moving off this point.
Why you would vote for Hasan? Why would you vote for Hasan?
Harm reduction. Hasan would be better than JD Vance. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance. Wait, that's why you would vote for Epstein over JD. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance, right? Isn't it the case that you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance? Didn't you say that? And presumably your answer.
You're saying it would be harm reduction to vote.
So then say it, Hutch. Say that I view Jeffrey Epstein as a better leader than Hasan PIKER.
No, it's your own statement.
You know you fucked yourself. You know you fucked yourself. You know you did.
No, you're telling me that you would vote for somebody who presided over tens of millions of deaths, Pisco.
That's Hasan PIKER?
No, he models his politics after fucking Vladimir Lenin, and then you're turning it around on me.
So then just say then say Epstein is preferable to Hasan PIKER.
I'm starting to feel embarrassed because Jose is here and it's like we're fighting. So let's
no, you're fine. I'm still wondering why.
Just say
I'm still wondering how a corpse would get nominated to be the Democratic nominee.
Well, it's Ghost. Well, I can say it without any hesitation. I would vote for Hasan over JD Vance in a heartbeat, and I have a feeling Jose would too. Jose? What do you say? Hasan versus JD Vance?
Yeah, if somehow Hasan decided to jump into the Democratic fray and run and win, yeah, of course. Of course, I would vote for him as the.
You're the odd one out here, Hutch. We'd all vote for Hasan. We all think he would be better than the Trump presidency.
Then we have very different kind of opinions about like how Marxist-Leninist governance like functions and actually is.
You're taking practice. The worst possible outcome of unintentional policies from Hasan and comparing them to intentional fascism and saying they're about equal and I would off myself.
I think that's not right. He legitimately stands Vladimir Lenin. He thinks that that's a model for how to like conduct governance. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Campaign rhetoric, Hutch.
Okay, so why the fuck would I ever asking me to choose between him and Jeffrey Epstein, I guess?
You picked Epstein already. You've already laid that out.
Wait, Hutch. Do you think Hasan wants everyone to have health care? Yes or no? No, I'm not trying to gotcha. I'm just saying. Bro. Do you think he wants that? Do you think? Do you actually think he? Okay, so like I would pick someone who's trying, maybe in a bad way, to get universal health care from everyone than Donald Trump, who says, I'm going to cut taxes on billionaires, fuck people. I don't care if they die, and let's go send ICE in and round all these people up. I don't care if worst case scenario it could be bad. I'm saying,
hang on a minute. Would you fucking defend Kim Jong-un because everybody in North Korea has healthcare?
No.
Okay,
do you think this is Hasan here, bro? Come on. You think Hasan wants Kim Jong-un healthcare? Is that what he's like?
It's like Venezuela. Have you heard of Venezuela, guys?
Hasan literally said, this is what he believes. Like he believes in a uniparty. He would ban political opposition. Do you understand this? What do I care if I have healthcare if I can't?
They banned Nazi parties in Germany, and honestly, I'm okay with that. So
it's like asking me to choose between like Stalin and Hitler. I choose neither. I would welcome the warm embrace of oblivion before I had to choose between.
Then I don't think.
Can you criticize Hasan for saying?
Yeah,
I view look, I disagree, but he thinks that Gavin Newsom's policies lead to the same bad outcomes that Trump presidencies do because eventually get a new Trump. Okay, and I disagree with that, but you're making the same argument now. I feel like you don't have.
He's wrong. I'm right. Who cares if he's saying something different? I don't care. Who cares?
Okay. I'd vote.
All right, hold on. Let's.
I'd vote twice for Hasan.
Sorry, Jose. We get derailed a lot.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I think Hasan's a pussy, but I mean, it is what it is, and I don't think he has riz either. It's just because he has a lot of influence, right? And when you call him out on it, when you're like, hey, you have a lot of influence, you should have not said XYZ, maybe Kamala Harris could have won. He then backpedals and he goes, well, I'm just a streamer. I live in California. I'm just this idiot. He doesn't really double down on the influence that he has on the folks that watch him.
Yeah, but he's not Jeffrey Epstein, though. right? He's not Jeffrey.
Oh yeah, he's not. No, I said I would vote for. I mean, Jeff Epstein's dead, but I would vote for Hasan if he was the Democratic nominee. I just don't think he has the spine that it takes to even reach that level. Because again, he talks a lot of shit on his stream, but if you were to call him out on it, he always backpedals. Even on Twitter, like when people call him out on it, he always changes the framing of what is being discussed when he quote tweets someone, and he never properly addresses the person that he's quote tweeting. He just doesn't have
I
a
think
spine.
I think that's totally true, and that's one of the reasons why I do get triggered with my boy Hutch, who I love. I love Hutch with all my heart. When he has the lefties in his replies, like 99% of the time, they're not like responding to anything he's saying, and that triggers me as someone who wants their question answered. Hutch, it triggers me when people dodge, and I think that he does it a lot, and I think that's wrong.
Like my answer.
Isaiah's calling you out.
I don't know that.
If Hutch can't choose between Stalin and Hitler, ask him what FDR should have done in World War II, and ask him why he hates America.
FDR did the right thing because
He chose Stalin.
He chose Stalin.
Yes, he did, because Hitler represented the immediate larger threat. And then what happened as soon as the war ended? We ended up in a fucking 50-year Cold War with the Soviets. That was the correct decision. No, that was the correct decision.
Okay, so you should vote for Stalin, Hasan Piker, and then afterwards we can have the Cold War with Hasan.
We can have the Cold War with Hasan Piker.
I see what you're doing. I guess you trapped me with that one.
Got him, Josiah.
Hey, good job, Josiah. Good job. We did it. What's going on in the news, folks? I mean, Pam Bondi freaking out over this financier.
Let me just say something real quick. I am calling for a total and complete shutdown of of Jeffrey Epstein mentions until we can figure out what the hell is going on, because he's come up. The reanimated corpse of Jeffrey Epstein has come up in like the last 4 Live and Learn episodes. So I'm calling for a complete
shutdown. It's in the news.
Yeah,
it's our title.
What the hell is going on? All right. Anyways, I want to recap the debate that we had on Live and Learn last night that got way too aggro. There was a moment where I got pressed on if I would vote for Jeffrey Epstein or Hasan Piker. I really don't understand why we're doing this Jeffrey Epstein thing. Why does he keep being brought up on Live and Learn? What the fuck are we doing? Why are we doing this? We don't have to have thought experiments where we're given the option to vote for Jeffrey Epstein. We don't have to do this.
We're talking about a guy who you think Hasan is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it shows you, Hutch. That's what it shows you.
What is Jeffrey Epstein?
Did when you said I would vote for Epstein over fucking JD Vance.
Tell me, what is Jeffrey Epstein's policy platform?
Dude, you don't need.
That's a fair question, isn't it? Isn't that relevant to the analysis? I don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein's politics. Would he push for a public option? Is he a Medicare for all kind of person? I don't know anything about his politics. It's worth it to unpack. Yeah, does he support universal childcare? Does he support paid family leave? Like, the reason why I would not necessarily disqualify Jeffrey Epstein electorally is because first we would have to establish if he supports liberal democracy. We would have to establish that, because the whole thing with Hasan is that he does not support liberal democracy. And I had people in my own chat last night that thought I was being ridiculous. Why am I being ridiculous when we're talking about Hasan Piker? Why am I being ridiculous? Do you seriously trust our nation's secrets with Hasan Piker? You would trust him with our nuclear technology, our surveillance technologies? Like you would trust him with our spy networks? No, we killed it. No, I want you to answer that question. Do you trust Hasan with our nation's secrets? Do you trust that he would not share our nation's secrets with China? I want you to answer that question. Do you trust that he would not nuke Israel? Do you trust that he would not help China invade Taiwan? No, I want you to answer it here, right now, right now. Do you trust that he would not share our nation's secrets with China? You pissed me off last night in the stream chat. We killed it. You pissed me off. God, that was fucking aggravating. I'm crazy for being worried about our fucking nation's secrets. If we gave power to Hasan Piker, I'm the crazy one who's like, I don't know, what's Jeffrey Epstein's policy position when Hasan Piker wants to ban political parties? When he glorifies the current Chinese Communist Party as like a model of government? I'm the crazy one? somebody who idolizes Vladimir Lenin, and I'm the fucking crazy one because I don't want to fucking live under an authoritarian leftist regime with a vanguard party and a secret police and like banning oppositional political opinions. And I'm the crazy one that's like, well, what's Epstein's platform? I need to know what my options are here. That makes me crazy. Give me a fucking break. I think what's going on, guys, is I have a very different opinion of authoritarian communism / like socialism. I am horrified when I look at Mao and Lenin and Stalin. They horrify me. That is, to me, a dystopian nightmare. What do you think Vladimir Lenin did? Like, what do you know about Vladimir Lenin? He killed him and his vanguard party, his secret police. They killed millions of people. They killed millions of people. They just murdered people who spoke out against the regime. I'm red scaring. Read a fucking book. What do you mean I'm red scaring? Like, actually read a fucking book. What do you know about Vladimir Lenin? Like, what do you know about him? What do you know about him? Do you know anything about what he did, what they did? They were a nightmare, an actual nightmare. And I'm fucking crazy. I'm not doing fucking debate bro shit with you. You're assuming Congress would back him unilaterally like they do with Trump and Vance. What? How much more clear do I have to make this? That Hasan is not a liberal. He is a authoritarian tanky. Who gives a fuck about Congress? Who cares? Who cares? If you make that guy the most powerful person in the entire world, who gives a shit about the Constitution? Who cares? It's over. It is literally over at that point. Did Vladimir Lenin like work within the system? Did he like reform the system? Now, to be fair, you know, they were destroying the monarchy. Hutch, Congress obviously matters. The whole reason you're in this mess is because Congress isn't acting because they support Trump. But like, I don't think you guys understand that. I think Hasan PIKER is literally more authoritarian than Donald Trump. Like, I don't think that Hasan PIKER would hesitate to pull the trigger on like re-education camps. Not a joke. I'm taking him at his word. Do you think it's like a troll when he talks about re-education and stuff? Do you think it's just like all a big troll? Not a joke. He's not kidding. What else does he need to say before people understand that it's not a joke? He is not trolling. He would rather do re-education camps than allow political opposition. Do people understand this? What the fuck, man? So why use Epstein in this hypothetical? Listen, if it was up to me, we would just stop saying the words Jeffrey Epstein on the Lib Learn podcast. If it were up to me, we would stop doing that. I don't need to bring him up. They keep bringing him up. Okay. I think like a better, more interesting hypothetical would be like Hasan PIKER versus Nikki Haley or something. That makes sense. America has always had traditionally anti-leftist bent in politics. Any far leftist that somehow takes the White House is either going to be forced into bipartisanship with Democrats and Republicans, or he's going to be the lamest of duck presidents ever. I don't know how many times I need to say that once you give someone like Hasan PIKER power, and in this case, elevate him to the most powerful seat in the entire planet, at that point, it is literally over. It is over. Who cares about the Congress? The Congress will be dissolved. The Constitution will be thrown into a paper shredder. It doesn't matter at that point. It is over. Why do you think he romanticizes / idolizes Che Guevara, Fidel Castro, Mao Zedong, Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin? Like, it is over at that point. If that's the case, why doesn't Trump do it already? Because Hasan PIKER is literally more authoritarian than Donald Trump. Don't you get it? Don't you understand? It's not a joke. What do you mean? Oh my God, it's not a joke. How, like, what more rhetoric from Hasan do you guys have to hear before you take him seriously? He's a tanky. What don't you get about this? It's not just about like, oh, he just wants to give everybody health care. You don't get it. You're not paying attention. You don't listen to him.
to know Jeffrey Epstein's policy.
You don't need to know. Here's what I know about him.
You said you
Where does he stand on abortion?
You don't need.
You voted for him over JD Vance.
Here is what I know about
that.
Here is what I know about Hasan. He romanticizes, lionizes, and idolizes Vladimir fucking Lenin. Do you know how many people, fucking millions of people, died under his regime?
This is a dodge. This is a dodge.
No, you're doing prime
This is a dodge. This is
no,
this
you're
is not
doing
prime
time.
anything.
Yes, you are.
No,
yes,
no,
you
this
are.
is not prime time.
You
This is not prime.
Oh my God, bro. It's so embarrassing in retrospect. Jose's like, what the fuck is this podcast? Daz Radani with $10. It's fair to ask for his platform, but if you're saying that you'd vote for him over Trump, it seems like you're granting that you'd choose him without knowing his platform then. Well, I should say I would be willing to consider voting for the most unlikely people. But yeah, I do want to know what their platform looks like for sure. Who would you rather have as a babysitter? Hasan or Jeffrey? I would pick Hasan to babysit before I pick Jeffrey Epstein. I will give you that. I would trust him more as a babysitter. I will grant you that. Yeah. When I look at the Soviet Union and when I look at Maoist China, it's horrifying to me. Like, it's actually horrifying to me. Hang on. Hold on. We need to establish something really quick. I'm going to poll both chats, okay? We have to establish something really quick, all right? All right, my YouTube chat, it is 89% of the audience are horrified when they think about China under Mao and USSR under Lenin. Okay. Contrasted with Twitch, where it is 73% of Twitch chat are horrified of China under Mao and USSR under Lenin versus 27%. So it's like a quarter, if we're assuming that this is actually representative, it's like a quarter of Twitch chat versus 11% of YouTube who are not horrified. I don't know what to tell you guys, but it horrifies me. Those regimes horrify me. They horrify me, okay? Imagine you live in the city and then the Communist Party official, police show up at your house and tell you, you and your entire family are moving onto a farm and you're going to work on a farm every day. Imagine enduring a completely avoidable man-made famine that kills anywhere between 25 and 50 million people. Imagine not being free to criticize the government. Imagine being tortured and murdered because you criticize the government. And as they're torturing you, they're asking you, who else is against the government? Like, all of these things horrify me. They absolutely horrify me. I mean, to be fair, meanwhile in Palestine, to be fair, if I lived in Gaza, I would be horrified. Yes. We jailed a student for an op-ed. There is no way you just type that sentence in an attempt to draw an equivalence with the Soviet Union under Lenin. There's no way you typed that out. The Red Scare is back, baby. Yeah. Do you know what the Red Scare was? The Red Scare was the government cracking down on anyone in the United States that they thought were communist sympathizers, which was bad. That was very bad. But that does not mean that what was happening in the Soviet Union and China was like not a big deal. I think that's the disconnect here. Like, if you're not horrified by the prospect of living under a dictator, you know, like Vladimir Lenin or Mao Zedong, if these things don't horrify you, then you don't understand my position. But that's where this comes from. I would rather Minecraft myself before having to choose between living under an authoritarian leftist dictator versus an authoritarian fascist dictator. Like, to me, it's like, pick your poison. Just to reiterate, Hasan said on the podcast with Ethan that if you disagreed with his system, you'd be put in re-education camp. So he technically didn't say that. He didn't say camps, but it was implied. Okay. He was asked, in your socialist system, you're saying that you can still have like democracy within a socialist state, okay? Okay, great. Let's say there's a political party and it's a bunch of people who remember what capitalism was like and they want to go back to that. And then that party starts growing in power. They start growing in numbers. And all of a sudden they become like a legitimate political movement. And they're gaining traction and they're convincing people and, you know, building momentum. He was asked, what do you do? And he said, well, I would just do what, you know, we also do in the West, or like in America, which is just nonsense. You know, and the solution to that is education. Well, what the fuck does that mean? What does that even mean? He did say camps? Wait, what?
You know what I mean?
Some people are.
I think he said education, and then Ethan said re-education, and he said, well, yeah, people in the West get so like uptight about the concept of re-education.
You're gonna be dumb. You're right.
It's like it's just gonna exist. You know it is.
Yeah.
And so if the will of the people is to go back and to do more of a social democracy, is that something that a socialist country should move towards, or should there be resistance in the government to keep socialism?
I think the resistance should be akin to how capitalist governments have resisted historically any kind of socialist movement, not to that same degree of violence, but I think that yes, the solution to that would always be education.
Like if the United States was even 1/10 in practice, 1/10 authoritarian in the way that Leninist Russia was and Stalinist USSR, Mao's China, the current Chinese Communist Party, the current Communist Party in Cuba, if the United States was even 1/10 as authoritarian as those regimes, why the fuck is he a thing? How is Hasan PIKER a thing? Somebody explain that to me. He's literally one of the biggest live streamers in the world. In the world. Would anybody deny that he has probably been instrumental in radicalizing thousands of people into adopting a socialist ideology? Would anybody deny that? So how come the United States, because we're so threatened by socialism, right? Like we're so scared of socialism, right? We're so scared of socialism taking hold, like as a country, like how come he hasn't been picked up by a secret police and thrown in jail? Can someone explain that to me? Not only has that not happened, he's become a rich man, radicalizing thousands of people into adopting a socialist ideology. He's making this equivocation. He was like, well, I would just do the same thing that, you know, like capitalist countries have done. And it's true that in the United States, we did like crack down on groups that we thought were radical and, you know, that's true. I mean, you have to go back a decent amount of time. You have to go back like decades to get to the point where like the CIA and the fucking FBI were, you know, really actively with like COINTELPRO, like counterintelligence program. You know, it's true. It's true that the United States government, you know, these agencies, these law enforcement agencies, our intelligence agencies went to extraordinary lengths to surveil and sabotage lefty movements in the country at the time. That's true. You kind of have to go back decades before you get to that point now. And the current administration is definitely like more authoritarian than any administration in recent decades. All that's well and good, but how come Hasan PIKER has made himself a rich man in the United States of America, and his job is, on paper, literally radicalizing thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, I don't even know, into adopting a socialist ideology? If the capitalist powers are so threatened by him, how come he has not just been tossed in a fucking gulag? I will tell you why. Because we have a fucking constitution. We are a liberal democracy and we have a constitution and we have checks on power, and you can't just do that. The reason why the Trump administration, they've been able to crack down on people's rights and whatnot is they're going after people that are not citizens, and what they're doing is awful. It is authoritarian. I agree. It is authoritarian. And you can find instances where they've like deported US citizens and these kinds of things. These are like egregious violations of rights. And we also have a court system where people can take their grievances to a court and maybe even like sue the government. But even with all of that, even with how authoritarian this administration has been, you're still like 1,000 times more free to speak up in criticism of the government living in this country. You're just not allowed to do that in China. The cope that they come up with was like, well, actually, you know, the people in China, they're free to, you know, criticize the local governments there. Okay. Are they free to criticize the Chinese Communist Party? Are they free to, can they upload a video on social media tomorrow saying, you know, the Chinese Communist Party's treatment of the Uyghur Muslims is an atrocity? But are they free to do that? No, you just can't do that. You're just not allowed to do that. They will fucking literally throw you in jail. That's not a small thing. It's not fear mongering. It's not xenophobia. It doesn't mean that I dislike like the Chinese people. I feel fucking horrible for anybody that has to live under a authoritarian structure like that. That is just like a nightmare to me.
And offering more
re-education?
Re-education, certainly, yeah. I know that that's like a trigger word.
Camps.
No, not like that. I know there's a.
Well, what does it mean? Yeah, re-education. Well, camps? Well, no. Not camps. Well, you just said, under your proposed socialist system, there's a hypothetical capitalist political party that's building momentum and growing their numbers. What would your solution be? He says education, and then he's asked re-education. He says, yeah. People get uptight about that word, but yeah, re-education. Well, would it be re-education camps? No, it wouldn't be camps. Well, what is your enforcement mechanism? Okay, great. You know, I'm a part of the capitalist party in his ideal socialist system. Okay, and I'm growing my numbers, and the socialist government, they show up at my door and they knock on my door. And I open the door and they say, would you like re-education? And then I say, no. Fuck off. Get fucked. Okay, what do you do? Okay, well, we tried. See you later. How has quote unquote re-education played out in every authoritarian leftist government ever? Show me one authoritarian leftist government that had voluntary re-education. I don't understand why people, you can and should criticize the US government when they betray the principles of liberal democracy, deprive people of rights, crack down on people, you know, surveil people, you know, you have like ICE threatening to fucking kill and arrest people because people are practicing their First Amendment rights of recording them and monitoring them. You should speak up about those things because they're egregious violations of the country's principles. And the good thing about living in this country and many other countries on earth, where we're not the only country to have this kind of freedom, is you can do that. You are allowed to do that. You can upload a whole video series, a 10 video series, an hour each, diving into all the ways that the current administration is violating people's rights. You can do that. That is a relatively recent development when we're talking about human societies. You guys understand that? I'm being condescending right now. For hundreds and thousands of years, the way that things were structured was that you were either subservient to the head of like like the warlord head of a tribe. You know, you didn't have rights when you were like a hunter-gatherer, okay? And for hundreds of years and thousands of years, you were just the Pharaoh's subjects or the Caesar's subjects, the king's subjects. You didn't have rights. You didn't have a right to like go to a court and make a petition of like grievance. You weren't allowed to do that. It was just like you were just fucked. You really can't condescend anyone, sorry to say. I mean, listen, I'm just telling you. This is just how it was for thousands of years. You were just fucked. And it's only been in the last like few hundred years where new systems of government have emerged. And there's problems in every country, and every country is going to have problems with some people in the government being corrupt. In the case of America right now, the United States president is corrupt in a way that is like unfucking precedented in American history. It's that bad. But even with him at the helm, I do not personally feel any kind of, like if I go on Twitter and I start typing out some criticism of Donald Trump, I'm not afraid that a secret police is going to show up at my house and throw a rag over my fucking head and toss me in a fucking gulag, which that's a pretty important fucking right. That's a pretty important right to have. That's literally what's happening with ICE. Chatterbox, wait, hang on a second. Why are you typing in my chat right now? Hang on. By typing in my chat right now, are you an American citizen? By typing in my chat right now, do you feel like you are risking like someone from the Trump administration's police showing up in your home and throwing you in jail? That's what you think? That's what you're saying? If you really thought that that was going on, like there was a risk of that, a significant risk of this happening, You would not be in my chat typing this stuff out, okay? You think that won't happen. Wait a second. Chat, Flavortown, my whole argument over the last week is that I do think it's possible that a day may come in America where that shit could happen. That's my argument. I'm the one saying that MAGA and the Republican Party are showing obvious signs of fascist creep. It's obvious to anybody who's even vaguely aware of history. I'm the one who's saying that. And in the context of that, I'm turning around and then I'm asking people, what would you be willing to compromise to stop that from happening? What would you be willing to compromise? That's the whole purpose of this conversation. But what I'm saying is that it's a creep. We're in a kind of unraveling stage right now where we're not there yet and we got a ways to go. But if this continues, then it's conceivable to me that in, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, the whole thing could just come crashing down, which is why it's important to stop Republicans from winning elections. That's my argument. It's not creep, Hutch. They're building camps as we speak. Don't fucking play games with me, bro. It's not creep. So we're already, you think right now in this moment, we are like fascist Italy? We are like Nazi Germany? You think we're there right now? Don't play fucking games with me, bro. Of course it's a creep. What is your standard for full blown? The Constitution is gone. That's the red line. The Constitution is gone. Like gone. It's fucking gone, okay? If we were in a full blown fascist state in the United States right now, like full blown, then California could not have passed Prop 50, all right? We couldn't have done early redistricting to nullify Texas grabbing 5 extra seats in the House of Representatives. Like Donald Trump would have just said, nope. That's what it means. It's gone. It's gone. The Congress, gone. The courts, gone. The Constitution, gone. It's gone, bro? Come on, stop. What are we doing here, guys? I'm all for being vigilant about in the current moment. But what are we doing, guys? If the Constitution was gone and this kind of rhetoric could get you thrown in jail, none of you would be in my chat right now. Hutch in 1939, it's fine. It's not yet 1941. No, you need to study history, okay? You need to study history. It's not Germany 1939. Are you out of your fucking mind? Do you know what was happening in 1939? We're in Germany like 1922, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus. No, it's not even 1935, man. We're still years before that, okay? Holy fucking shit. I think we need to react to like history videos on YouTube. That's what I think we need to do. What year? I was gonna, hang on, Airborne, don't give the spoilers. I was just about to ask people. What year was Hitler appointed chancellor? It was after the 1932 elections. It was after the 1932 elections. Shortly after that, in 1933, he was appointed chancellor. But what happened in the years before that? What was the buildup to that? What happened in the 1928 elections? The 1928 elections, the Nazi Party, what did they, I think they only won like 2 or 3% of the vote. But people saw that and they thought, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. What is happening? People saw that as a sign of, oh, God, we might be in trouble. Fire with $10. The question from Pisco you have to answer is, if Epstein is better than Trump and Hasan and Epstein are the same, doesn't it logically follow that Epstein is better than Hasan? If Epstein is committed to preserving liberal democracy, then he would, like, electing Jeffrey Epstein would necessarily yield better outcomes than electing Hasan PIKER. Even if Epstein was a conservative, for example. If, like, he was not trying to, like, end American democracy, and your position is that American democracy should be maintained, and it would be really bad if it ended, then you would necessarily have to take my position. But I don't know. I don't know if Epstein was anti-liberal democracy. I have no idea what his actual politics were. He seems to have hung out with a lot of politically connected people, both Democratic and Republican. I don't know. I think you fucked yourself with this one. I will bite the bullet. I don't give a fuck. Don't you understand? I think you guys are, it is more on you. And that was kind of the point of like where this argument goes. I think it's more on you guys to justify to me why you would ever in a million years elect Hasan PIKER, assuming that you want liberal democracy to remain the structure of government. It is way more on you to justify to me why you would ever vote for someone who is principally committed to ending liberal democracy and to forming a new authoritarian socialist government. Why is it not your job to explain to me why that would be an acceptable outcome? Why would you ever empower someone to do something like that? If your position is that the authoritarian leftist government would be better, okay, you know, make your case, and then it just turns into a debate about, you know, what's a better kind of government, like authoritarian socialism or liberal democracy. But if you don't think that authoritarian left socialist like government, if you view it as dystopian as I do, like, of course, if somebody asked you in any hypothetical, would you vote for Hasan or, you know, X? That's going to be like, at minimum, it's going to be a really difficult decision, right? What are the top 3 most impactful / influential socialist dictators in American history? It's going to be Vladimir Lenin. Obviously, it's going to be Jeffrey Epstein. It's going to be Vladimir Lenin. It's going to be Joseph Stalin. It's going to be Mao Zedong. Oh, did I say American history? Sorry. In world history, what did those governments look like? How many people died under those regimes? If that doesn't give you pause, I don't know what to tell you. And I think that's what's going on. Like in this conversation here, I didn't get the, I mean, Jose, I didn't really get a strong sense of how he felt about like authoritarian socialism. But I got the impression that Soy Pill Pisco and IRI didn't view a hypothetical authoritarian socialist government with the same kind of like urgency or, I don't know, alarm that I did. I think that's what was happening. Like we don't think of a hypothetical authoritarian socialist government in the same way. When I do, I think of Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, and Mao Zedong. And maybe this is just a product of like the American education system, because we didn't really, when I was growing up studying history, being taught history in grade school and in high school, we didn't really spend a lot of time on socialist governments. We spent way more time studying Hitler, Nazi Germany. Well, now it sounds like I'm insulting their intelligence, but if you, we've talked about this many times, but if you forced me, so they brought both Hitler and Stalin back to life, or they brought like Hitler and Lenin back to life, or they brought Hitler and Mao Zedong back to life, and you put a gun to my head and forced me to choose who will lead the country, I would become so black-pilled in that moment that in my mind, it wouldn't even matter. And in my mind, it's like, pick your poison. Like either of these things. I mean, Pol Pot was really bad too. Pol Pot was another authoritarian socialist dictator, and he murdered a quarter of the population, you guys. A quarter of the population of Cambodia. Country of like 8 to 9 million people. Split the difference, 8.5 million people. They murdered over 2 million people. I've never heard Hasan talk about Pol Pot, but I have heard him romanticize Vladimir Lenin. I haven't heard him talk about Stalin, but I have heard him romanticize and glorify Mao Zedong. They have no idea what the actual number is in terms of the people that died under Mao Zedong, but it's somewhere between 25 and 50 million people. Okay, I'm good on that. I'm a hard pass on that. Okay, I'm a hard pass on that. I don't know. Okay.
I'm not moving off this point.
Why you would vote for Hasan? Why would you vote for Hasan?
Harm reduction. Hasan would be better than JD Vance. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance. Wait, that's why you would vote for Epstein over JD. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance, right? Isn't it the case that you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance? Didn't you say that? And presumably your answer.
You're saying it would be harm reduction to vote.
So then say it, Hutch. Say that I view Jeffrey Epstein as a better leader than Hasan PIKER.
No, it's your own statement. Look at Jose, man. Look at his face. Bro, can we just look at his face? Hold on. I want everybody to focus on Jose's face. We're going to go back 20 seconds and just everybody just watch Jose, okay?
Epstein over JD Vance. Wait, that's why you would vote for Epstein over JD. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance, right? Isn't it the case that you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance? Didn't you say that? And
hey, remember, he's like a normal person, you know? He's just like a normal person. He does TikTok content. He does political content, but he has a regular job. This is not his job. Like he has like a normal job, you know? He's just like a normal, not crazy political hyper online person.
Presumably your answer.
You're saying it would be harm reduction to vote.
So then say it, Hutch. Say that I view Jeffrey Epstein as a better leader than Hasan PIKER.
No, it's
your own statement. Wait, you know you fucked yourself. You know you fucked yourself. You know you did.
No, you're telling me that you would vote for somebody who presided over tens of millions of deaths, Pisco.
That's Hasan PIKER?
No, he models his politics after fucking Vladimir Lenin, and then you're turning it around on me.
So then just say, then say Epstein is preferable to Hasan PIKER.
I'm starting to feel embarrassed because Jose is here and it's like we're fighting. Oh my God. Oh my God. I had the thought too. I was like, okay, you have to be kind of normal. You have to try to be kind of normal this episode. And that did not last. I am genuinely of the opinion that you're not giving Hasan the same grace that you give Trump in this instance. You constantly tell us that Trump has guardrails to stop him that won't let him do the shit he wants. Yet when it comes to Hasan, that just goes out the window. Yeah, but Smajj, I explained myself. When my primary concern when it comes to Hasan PIKER as president is foreign policy, is sharing our country's secrets with our adversarial competitive superpowers. I am concerned that Hasan PIKER would do a land invasion of Israel. I am concerned that Hasan PIKER would just share our nation's secrets with China. Like, give them a list of all of our spies. I am concerned that Hasan PIKER would commit to boots on the ground in Taiwan to help China completely take over Taiwan, okay? Like Trump's admin already does that. I had never said that Trump is not horrible on foreign policy. That said, I don't know if he's like, well, hey, listen, you know, Russia. Maybe he has given Russia some of our secrets. I really don't even know. I mean, you can make these points and like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine. Like, it's possible that Donald Trump has given Russia some of our secrets. Like, it's possible. Smajj, you're ignoring your own guardrails argument with this. He has guardrails that stop him from doing this. Do they suddenly disappear with Hasan? The guardrails are more for domestic policy, though. Don't you understand that? There are guardrails to stop Donald Trump, for example, and he's demonstrated that, at least so far, he wouldn't commit to a protracted land war without Congress. Like, he hasn't done that yet. He's done military operations, and I think the UAMF, is that what it's called? The bill that was passed after the September 11th attack gives him the power to do some unilateral military stuff, like what happened in Venezuela or whatever. But I think that Hasan would go further. Like, he would go further. Like, I think he would go further. I think he would ignore more guardrails. That's what I'm saying. I think he's like more authoritarian than Donald Trump, probably. Did you see Hasan reacting to you saying
Hutch
Lenin was awesome?
Stuck.
No, do you have a clip of that? Is he even
There's
playing?
a whole different world out there.
Hasan is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it shows you, Hutch. That's what it shows you.
When did this happen? Today? What is Jeffrey Epstein?
Did when you said I would vote for Epstein over fucking JD Vance.
Tell me, what is Jeffrey Epstein's policy platform?
Dude, you don't need to know Jeffrey.
You are welcome for the content, by the way. You are welcome for the content, by the way. What do you mean you don't need to know? Here's what I know about him.
You said you voted for him on abortion.
You don't need.
You voted for him over JD Vance.
Here is what I know about that. Here is what I know about Hasan. He romanticizes, lionizes, and idolizes Vladimir fucking Lenin. Why would you vote for Hasan?
Harm reduction. Hasan would be better than JD Vance. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance. Wait, that's why you would vote for Epstein. So then say it, Hutch. Say that.
Hutch said he would rather vote for Jeffrey Epstein over.
You are welcome for the content, by the way.
because I lionize the lion himself, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin.
Thank you for making my fucking point, by the way.
Yeah, Lenin was fucking awesome.
There you go. Okay. That's why, at minimum, this is a difficult decision. At minimum, this is something that you would have to think about. Okay. If you want to take some time over the next week to study how long was Lenin in power, by the way? Was it like he died? He kind of slowly faded. He was pretty sick for like the last, like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years. He died in 1924. Wait, what? Was he just sick the whole fucking time? He was buried in a specially erected mausoleum on January 27th. He died in 1924. How long was he sick, guys? Was it like 2 years or something like that? He got pretty sick. And then I think he was like not at 100% for, 1 or 2 years or something like that. Hutch, it is exactly that sentiment. Lenin was awesome. As to why the current system would turn him into a lame duck within a day of him taking power. But the point is, like, if you're all right, whatever.
What the fuck? What's his problem? This guy, oh God, the limits of Hasan derangement syndrome. I'm shocked that they have not entertained this in the debate circuit.
I have Lenin derangement syndrome is what this is.
Up until this moment, because it creates incredible dunks like this. Because these guys unironically think I am like worse than Adolf Hitler. Destiny has literally said he would rather vote for Adolf Hitler and even Donald Trump, which...
The point is, that would be a difficult decision. Yes, that would be a difficult decision. I would be more inclined to Minecraft myself than live in that world. Like, do you understand? Here's what I think of people like Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong and fucking Fidel Castro and Hasan PIKER, okay? If I could summarize my thoughts about how I view these people, is I think they see themselves as like Aragorn from the Lord of the Rings, the rightful king of Gondor, who, stir the realms of Middle Earth and unite them in a fight against Sauron. And in this case, Sauron being the evil American empire / like capitalism. That's how they view themselves. But in reality, they're fucking Daenerys Targaryen. Okay? That's how I view them. That is what I believe. They're fucking Daenerys Targaryen riding a fucking dragon and destroying King's Landing. That's what they're doing. They want to like break the wheel. Okay? That's how I see them. When I look at Adolf Hitler and the impact that he had on the world, and I compare it with Mao, Stalin, and Lenin, it's like, well, like which one was the absolute worst? It's like, well, are we doing total body count? Like, are we doing like total abject suffering? I don't know. They're all pretty bad,
She says is worse than Adolf Hitler, instead of someone like myself.
I view Jeffrey Epstein as a better...
Of course he brings the conversation back to Destiny, by the way. Of course he does. You are welcome for the content. I'm just doing my job, guys. Don't call me a hero. If this provokes a larger discussion about the historical significance of Vladimir Lenin, I'm fucking here for it, okay? Blue Crayons with 4 months. I'm in the Change My Mind room if you want to talk about Blue yeah, okay, all right, okay. All right, okay.
Yeah, so I guess the thing, so I saw in Discord yesterday about the Lib Learn episode, didn't watch it because I've been traveling the past 2 days. But my main point I want to drill down is like, with respect to Blue No Matter Who, it seems like there's always exceptions, whether that's left or center. Like for Hasan, it's Gavin Newsom. For you, it's Hasan. Like, so I guess I want to drill down, like, do you really believe in Blue No Matter Who then, if you have these exceptions, you know what I mean?
Well, first I want you to tell me, what do you think Blue No Matter Who is?
To me, Blue No Matter Who is basically, you have a primary season in the Democrat Party, obviously, and within that primary season, you try your hardest to get the candidate you most agree with elected. Whether, for me, that would probably be an AOC type of candidate. For you, it may be, I don't know who you've said who your favorite is, but it's maybe somebody similar. Well, besides him, I know he's your front runner, but
oh God, I shouldn't have done. It's a joke. 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 All right, yeah.
I think
he's
got
dead.
a little
He
bit
can't
of
run. He's
baggage.
dead. He's dead. I'm sorry, God.
You're good. But then once primary is over, whoever is picked, and generally that is, it's usually the more moderate candidate because that's just generally how most primary elections work. You get someone that can kind of appease everybody.
Yep.
And you rally behind that candidate and you try your best to get them to win. That's my understanding of blue no matter who.
Yeah, it's a strategy of straight ticket Democrat. And then I want you to dive into like why would this kind of strategy be necessary? Like what is the underlying premise of the thing that you're trying to overcome? Like what are the conditions that create urgency for a straight ticket Democrat strategy?
Yeah, so I mean, to me, the reason blue no matter who exists, especially in our current political climate, is we're basically on the doors, if not already encroaching on fascism. Like me personally, not trying to sound alarmist, I think we're in 1930s Germany, like early 30s Germany, between you see these reports of DHS spending $83 billion on these warehouses. You see ICE murdering citizens in the street, things like that. So for me, blue no matter who is a contingency, coalition, big tent, whatever word you want to use, that in my opinion should just be changed to the anti-fascist coalition. I am going to vote for anyone who is the anti-fascist candidate.
All right.
And so anyone that is against the fascist candidate, which in this case is Trump, and then probably Vance or whatever fucking cretin crawls out of the GOP next.
But there's a kind of underlying assumption when we're talking about a blue no matter who strategy. And the underlying assumption is that the goal is to basically like preserve American liberal democracy and stave off a worse system, in this case being a new kind of like neo-fascist movement in America. Like that's
for sure.
That's the underlying assumption. So if for example, Rashida Tlaib is well to my left, but if I was in Michigan and I lived in her district, I would not hesitate to vote for her over a Republican. Like, not even for a moment would I hesitate. Same with same with Graham Plattner. I don't like him as a candidate. I am very suspicious of him. But
to be frank, we've discussed in Twitch chat before. I'm probably to the left of you. I'm not a fan of Plattner, but it's one of those. If he gets picked, I also agree.
Same page.
You got to pull. Yeah, got to pull the lever for the guy.
Same page. Yeah. When you try to spin this around on me and say, well, is it really blue no matter who if you say you wouldn't vote for Hasan, hypothetically?
It doesn't have to be Hasan specifically. That's
what we're talking about, right? I mean, like...
Well, no, so that's what came up yesterday. And so my point would be, like, it seems like there's blue no matter who, but there are exceptions for some people.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think your premise is flawed because I have been so consistent the whole time. I've been saying, what have I been saying for the last like fucking, I don't even know, years, but like really harping on it in the last, we'll say like 9 months. My whole thing is me and Hasan are not on the same fucking team. That's my point.
And that,
when you say like, so if he ran as a Democrat, I would vote for him if he was running at like the state or local level. I would vote for him if he was running at the district level for a United States House of Representatives seat. I would vote for him if he was running for a Senate seat. But then you asked me about the presidency. And at that point, I would never in a 1,000 years consider voting for him for president. That is a totally different thing because he fucking legitimately wants to destroy the current system. And I think that it would be better to improve the current system, to reform the current system. That's my hope, right?
And I don't disagree with you, but in that hypothetical, which I believe was Hasan versus Vance, right? I have that right.
Yes, Smajj.
Okay.
Smajj, you're fucking on thin ice too, buddy. I swear to God. I'm so fucking. What do you mean? I'm so triggered right now with you, Smajj. I'm so triggered by this. So it's not blue no matter who. That's why I think we should talk about what is blue no matter who. The whole purpose of blue no matter who is harm reduction. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a trolley problem. It's harm reduction, right? So if I ever make the calculation that the blue candidate would be just as bad or worse as the red candidate, then it's not blue no matter who, right? Like that's what we're talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
So let me get back to my point. So in this hypothetical, you believe that Hasan would want to erode American democracy to set up basically a state-run vanguard system like Marxist-Leninists. And I don't even necessarily disagree. That would probably be his end goal. But, I mean, would you not also agree that J.D. Vance wants to destroy democracy? He is a firm proponent in the Curtis Yarvin Dark Enlightenment theory.
That's why I said I would Minecraft myself. That's why I said get ready for the long good night.
Okay, I missed the Minecrafting part.
I thought my whole thing was like, I refuse to make that choice. I would just as soon jump off of a cliff in Minecraft before you made me decide.
I mean, for me personally, I would pull the lever on Hasan because he's much less intelligent than JD Vance, so I don't think he'll be as effective. JD Vance would have the entire Republican Party behind him. Like, I mean, Hasan can't even control his Twitch chat.
Do you disagree that probably in the first month of this hypothetical Hasan presidency, do you disagree that he would invite Xi Jinping to the White House and just share a shitload of national secrets and forge a partnership with China? In the effort to propel them to being the world's superpower.
Well, if it's so I guess are you saying you think he would just do it with zero gain for the U.S. side?
Well, he's thinking about things in terms of a global order. He thinks that China is better positioned. Not better positioned. He thinks that if China was the world superpower, or if we lived in a more multipolar world, where they could be more competitive with the American military and the American economy, then he thinks that would be better across the world. He thinks that would be better for people across the world. Better for the proletariat across the world.
Sure. I mean, I guess I would to drill down on that. Like giving information to a potential ally, like we do that with our Western allies now.
Yes.
If the plan is to try to bring China into that fold,
why is that the plan? What do you mean?
Well, like what you're describing is how most countries do when they're trying to bring in an ally.
They're China is not an ally. They are.
I'm not saying that. No, I know they're not an ally now. I'm saying in this hypothetical Hasan world, he is trying to make China an ally. That would be the goal.
Yes, he would with the effort of elevating their economic and military power. Yes.
So if your argument is that you think Hasan day one presidency invites Winnie the Pooh over and he just says, here's all our state secrets, here's our missile systems, XYZ, just gives all this free reign.
Listen, I don't know exactly what he would give them. Maybe he doesn't do anything that he thinks that would lead to them nuking America. But I think he would take steps and share certain information and use the platform of the American presidency to significantly, not just marginally, significantly boost China's position on the world stage. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he would do that. Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that.
I think that would lead to really bad outcomes. That's my point. So that's why it's for me, it's not I would just without hesitation pull that lever. Because I think that would lead to really bad outcomes. Yes.
I could see it potentially going one of both ways because we're already seeing Europe and especially Canada leading at the forefront of like much closer ties with China right now. Like, I mean, you saw Mark Carney's Davos speech, right? He's basically like the new world or the world orders. That's all bullshit.
Right. I think that's bad.
I'm not. I think it just really depends.
Bad. I think it makes the world more unstable. I think it makes the economy more unstable. I think it makes the future more uncertain. I think it makes the world more volatile. I think that the risk of conflict goes way up when we fracture these long-standing, strong alliances. And if your position is that the current world order is like really dystopian and bad, that's how Hasan views things. Then it would be then it's like a good thing to sort of usher in a new kind of paradigm, right?
No, so what I would say is
that's what he thinks is what I'm saying.
That I would agree. That's what he thinks. I don't think that. I think what's happening though on the world stage is the U.S. is becoming extremely unreliable as a partner because the big issue that's going to happen is. Like, personally, I think 2026 midterms, Dems will sweep. 2028, a Dem will probably win. Unless, Trump takes over the elections, like he keeps saying. But we'll see.
Right, and who benefits the most from these, like, fracturing relationships? Like,
conservative.
No. I mean, what country above all other countries benefits the most from America shrinking from these relationships?
Yeah, it's China.
It's China. Yes. That's why I think this is really bad. Yes.
So what I'm saying is, yes, it's bad, but also I don't blame any of these other Western countries because let's say 2028.
No, but neither do I. We're having a different conversation right now. I mean, like I'm giving you my reasoning for why I don't think it's this straightforward answer. If you ask me, Hasan versus Vance. That's why I would welcome oblivion before having to choose between the two. I think both of them. I have the opinion of that situation in the same way that he has the opinion of like Vance versus Newsom. He thinks it doesn't matter because if you go down that road, fascism will win. I have the same view of Hasan versus Vance, but with a totally different kind of prediction of what would happen. But they're like very similarly destabilizing and
I guess my thing I would push back there is I think in both cases that's just wrong. Like in Hasan's case where he says if you get Newsom Vance it'll lead to fascism. I don't think so. I think Newsom would do a good job even though I don't really like Newsom.
I agree.
In a Hasan versus Vance scenario, I don't think Hasan would lead to fascism because, like, again, Hasan is stupid. Like, he's a himbo. He calls himself a himbo. Like, let's be realistic. I understand your concerns with respect to China. Like, that is very concerning. But, like, getting policy passed...
To me, it's existential. Like, it's beyond concerning. It's existential. If we had an American president who literally thinks that America is the most evil country that's ever existed on the face of the planet, and the kind of government and economic structure that we have in America is literally going to like kill everybody. Therefore, we need to get rid of it entirely and then like boost our adversarial like rivals. If that's his whole thing, I think he would, do you understand what I'm saying? Like he legitimately, his stated goal or ideal vision of America is a complete dismantling of the current structures and the current government and the current economy and the current, all of it, and to replace it with something else that is more in line with what they're trying to do in China, the Chinese Communist Party. And when I look at that, that doesn't look great to me.
So I understand that, and I understand those concerns. I would still say, I'm not saying it's good. Let me preface saying that it's not good. I would still prefer a China system over this dark enlightenment, Vance, Curtis Yarvin, techno-feudalism, biofuel, where they're like rounding up poor people and turning them into Soylent Green. Like, this is literally what JD Vance believes in. Like, he is fucking insane. Like, he wants the end of democracy.
Wait, brother, you know that they ban like political parties in in China, right? Like, you know that they imprison and torture political dissidents, right?
Yes, and that's going to happen under JD Vance's government
that's
too.
why I would Minecraft myself.
No, but what I'm trying to say is Hasan does not have the levers of power to just Green Lantern this shit. Like, JD Vance has so...
Do I need to walk you through this again? Does he need Congress to invite Xi Jinping to come to the country and like boost China and give them tools to like greatly compete with America's economy and military? Do you need Congress to do that? Can he just invite him to the White House?
Yes, you can invite him to the White House. How does this turn America into a vanguard state by inviting China?
By diminishing the American economy and by diminishing our standing on the world stage in the way that I envision Hasan to do. And by propelling a country like China, you are massively destabilizing the entire country.
Okay,
the risk of like economic devastation skyrockets.
Okay,
The risk of global conflict skyrockets. And you can't imagine how this thing could go south?
No, let me finish. So, sure, we'll go, let's say it destabilizes America's economy. It potentially makes the world hotter in a multipolar sense. China invades Taiwan. Again, how does Hasan get rid of Congress and turn America into a vanguard state like you're arguing for? That's the part I'm trying to get at. But you guys keep focusing. Let me finish, please.
But you guys keep focusing on domestic issues, and I just told you he doesn't fucking need the Congress to do the damage that I'm talking about. He doesn't need the Congress.
So again, JD Vance doesn't need the Congress to do international world destabilizing order things as well.
I understand. I will Minecraft myself. Yes.
But again, I understand you want to Minecraft yourself, but like the point I'm trying...
I don't want to Minecraft myself.
Well, anyway, so the point I'm trying to get at is at least domestically, Hasan will do way less damage than a JD Vance country. Like, because you have to think about JD Vance is allegedly Peter Thiel's blood boy. He is getting all that Palantir money. Fucking Discord right now, all this data is being required by the DHS now. It's all going 1984. Like, domestically, it will be really bad under JD Vance.
What do you think happens? What do you think happens to the United States economy if Hasan gets elected president and starts doing the stuff that I'm talking about? What do you think happens to the markets? You think the Dow's reaching do you think the Dow's going to continue to fucking go up in that spot? You think job creation is going to continue at the current pace? Do you think that like people that are looking to invest like money in different states in the country, like, do you think like that's just going to continue as normal?
Well, I mean, according to Pam Bondi, that might be a good thing, because if the Dow's below 50,000, we can talk about these pedophiles. So
that's true.
I don't know. That's kind of sounding in favor of Hasan. But on a serious point, so yes, like, I'm not saying either would be good. I guess the point I'm trying to get at is if Hasan is the Democrat candidate and fucking JD Vance or whatever piece of slime is the right, I am personally just in favor of blue no matter who. Just pull the lever, because Hasan is so stupid, he will get himself knocked out of office, because a lot of the things you're talking about, Trump could do right now, but he's not. And also, Trump has this like cult of personality that Hasan does not. Like, Hasan has a cult of personality with, let's see, how many is he streaming for? 34,000 people?
Listen, I don't know how else I could possibly explain like what I view to be the risk in this hypothetical, because everything that I'm talking about leads to massive economic destabilization. It would lead to massive like civil unrest. It would lead to, I think, like a literal fucking depression. I think that like the consequences of us like boosting a country like China, like joining a country like China, like becoming their ally, you know. Like I think all of these things have consequences that manifest in ways that I don't think you think about. You're just like, oh, well, you know, everybody would have healthcare. But if Hasan PIKER became president and then, you know, had like a public meeting with Xi Jinping, and all of a sudden it's like China is our new like strategic partner for the next like 50 years. What the fuck do you think is going to happen to these markets? Like what do you think is going to happen to the economy if he does that?
So if we become strategic partners with China on top of NATO,
in the way that, yes, yeah, in the way that when I say Hasan's going to say there are new strategic partners, what I'm saying is Hasan would be actively using the power of the presidency to do everything he could to propel China to become the new world superpower. Do you understand that? Like, why do you guys think that this is crazy?
I mean,
like why? Like literally, why do you guys think this is crazy? Like when he talks about China, the way that he talks about China and the way that he talks about the United States, is it unclear to anyone that he thinks China should be, there's a stronger case for China to be the world superpower than the United States? Why is anybody fighting me on this?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to fight you on it because we're already in the beginning of the Chinese century. Like, China is already surpassing the United States.
Well, I'm not qualified to dive into those details, but I feel like we're looping a little bit, so I'm gonna end this conversation, but we can talk more about it at a different time.
Sure, that's fine.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Nice chatting with you. Bye.
I've got a bone to pick with you, Smajj.
You got a bone to pick with me? I got a massive one to pick with you.
No, I'm not talking about being aroused. Leave your boner to yourself.
Right, okay, sorry.
I've got a bone to pick with you. I feel like you're being disingenuous, young man.
Me? No, never.
When you say, so it's not blue no matter who, that's disingenuous to me.
Is it disingenuous, or is it just asking you to clarify if it's actually blue no matter who?
I think
it's, you know, something more existential than, let's say, MAGA.
I think it deliberately obfuscates what the core of blue no matter who is. Like, do you think that I should vote blue no matter who if I thought that the blue was like worse or as bad as the red?
No, and I don't disagree with you.
Right. The principle goes out the window. The principle goes out the window, yes. Right? At that point, yeah.
I agree. And I was literally asking, so it's not blue no matter who, so you could say no, unless the threat is more existential than MAGA. My argument with you today, which you were getting quite annoyed with me, and it was yesterday as well, if Hasan became president, which God fucking forbid, right? Mm-hmm. Hasan became president. I'm with you there. I'm with you. I have not said that it should be it should be him. Mm-hmm. If he became president, what is stopping him from doing what Trump can't do? Or rather, what measures are there in place to stop Trump that would also stop Hasan?
I think we're getting at something different though, because like I legitimately think that Hasan would be more authoritarian than Trump.
Okay.
So like right now, Trump has so right now, like the courts have stepped in, and you know, some courts have been arguing that his administration is like ignoring the courts, but you know, the guardrails, do you agree like the guardrails are still there? They're being very much tested, but they are there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I've not disagreed that the guardrails aren't there. I'm arguing that the guardrails would still be there if Hasan were president.
But I think that Hasan would be willing to go further than Trump in terms of just ignoring the guardrails. Why wouldn't he?
Sure, but would the threat of him being impeached still be there?
I mean, sure, but I mean, like but he would. I'm saying like he would be more inclined to try to like build up to like an actual like military coup. Like, I think he would take it further than sending, 3,000 ICE agents into Minnesota and then drawing down after a protest.
Okay. Yeah. And the guy, again, what's stopping Trump from just sending even more ICE agents? It's the threat of impeachment, and it's the threat of his own party turning against him, and it's the threat of the people turning against him. So it doesn't really answer the question of if Hasan was president and if he turned around one day and went, let's say day 5 into his presidency and said, we're all about China now. I'm sending, I don't know, a new Gestapo, down to Minnesota to to do what ICE were doing, but 10 times worse. I'm getting rid of my dissenters. I'm getting rid of people who disagree with me politically. Do you not think that the next hour there would be articles of impeachment on the desk and he would not be impeached immediately?
Maybe, but this thought experiment is so open-ended that you almost have to dive it. You almost have to dive into like 75 different qualifiers. So there's a hypothetical where Hasan becomes president and it's just exactly what it is right now, right? Like copy paste. Like he exactly right now just becomes president. And then there's another, hypothetical where Hasan becomes president where he's like slowly built up a movement and a following and enough popular support to actually win the presidency. Or there's a different one, you know what I mean? Like, you understand? So we would have to dive into like so many details to qualify like which hypothetical we're talking about. But we don't even need to do any of that because my whole point is that this is a person who models his political philosophy off of Vladimir Lenin and Karl Marx. He is a Marxist Leninist. And that's what I'm talking about. And these people are brutal authoritarians. They will fucking murder you if you speak. Like Vladimir Lenin just murdered people. Like his secret police just picked people up off the streets, threw them in a fucking van, and just tortured and murdered people. He killed millions of people. And this is someone that he calls a lion and says was awesome.
Which was
so like, I don't know why anyone would ever, not think twice about what are the implications of, does he have the support to get away with it? I don't know, but all I can tell you is what is in his heart, because that's what he says. That these are the things that he just openly says. Okay.
Sure, but there's things in other politicians. I'm sure there's things in Trump's hearts that he'd love to do. Yeah, but he can't do them because of the guardrails that you tell us so much about, Hutch. So for Hasan to be able to do any of this, he would have to. Have you heard of the Green Lantern theory of politics at all? I
have heard of some people talk about it. Yes.
Sure. So the Green Lantern theory of politics is where you assume, in a broad sense, that the president can just do the thing, basically. You're assuming that Hasan would have the power to just do the thing. I don't think that's really asking too much for this thought experiment.
I'm not making that assumption.
Because if you're saying that Hasan could just do all this stuff, you're acting as though he wouldn't be impeached immediately. I think to someone like Hasan, the only important thing is power, and he would have enormous power, and he'd want to keep that power. Do you think he'd really risk that, day one, by immediately talking to Winnie the Pooh, bringing him over and saying, here's all our state secrets, going to the American people with something insanely unpopular, and risking losing that power?
Well, what hypothetical are we talking about here? Are we talking about, just literally right now in this moment, if I snap my fingers and without him having to build any kind of political movement, we just put him in the White House? If that's the case, I'm not that worried. I think he would be, I think the military would coup him like day one if he tried to do a bunch of shit like this. Or are we talking about a hypothetical where he has like built up a political movement that was big enough to, secure the Democratic Party nomination and then go up against someone like JD Vance and win? That's a different story. At that point, I don't know. Maybe he could. Like, let me ask you this. When Trump won the second time, were you afraid, like when you saw the margins, he beat Kamala in every swing state. He won the popular vote. Were you sharing the same kind of fears that I was having at the time, which is like, oh my God, like what if this is just the direction that we move in? Like, what if he does start doing fucking secret police stuff and then the public likes him for it? That's what I was thinking. Like shortly after I wasn't thinking like this is going to happen, but I was afraid, right? Like, or did you have the same kind of thoughts?
It wasn't a what if, it's a he's definitely going to do that. He sat there on stage and said what he was going to do, and people voted for him anyway. I've got enough problems with the American electorate, right? But in this hypothetical situation, from the way that it's been phrased to me, is Hasan runs as a Democrat. He doesn't necessarily have to have the Democratic Party's backing to become the Democratic nominee. He just needs the votes, which again, you talk to us all the time about with Bernie.
I see. Okay. Yes. All right. Yeah.
Let's say he still gets the votes. He still becomes the primary runner. Yeah. He wins the presidency because, I don't know, JD Vance dribbles on stage or something like that, and he like has a meltdown or something. He becomes the president. Do you think right? If let's say he wins the Senate, he wins Congress, he wins the House, whatever. Do you think that he would still have the power to do these things, even if that were the case? Do you not think that there would be a number of Dems that would step out of line and go, actually, no, I'm not going to let this happen?
I'll put it this way.
Fetterman.
Let me answer your question this way.
Cool.
I think that Hasan would be more likely to succeed if he attempted a full-on power grab, dissolve the Constitution, dissolve the Congress, than Trump was likely to be able to to do a full fascist takeover. When we go back to like right after he won the election, I think the odds of the Republic ending in this hypothetical where he's built up popular support and now he's just like now left-wing authoritarian socialist populism type stuff is like, now that's the thing that's like took fire or like it's taking over the country. I think that he would be better positioned to actually like end the American Republic than Trump was in November of 2024, right after he won.
Okay, based on what? Because Trump's already, like Cherry's just said in chat, he's already getting rid of the DOE. He already bought in Doge and gave them like ultimate power to just rip things apart. So based on what you're saying, well, Hasan could do it when we already know that the Republicans want to do it and they're attempting to do it. They're getting stopped in the courts every step of the way, right? When they try to do this stuff. So
you agree?
What would give Hasan more power to do it?
You agree that for the most part, this administration has listened to the courts, like for the most part. Right?
Yes, and Hasan would be forced to do the same, otherwise he'd be removed.
I literally think that Hasan would literally ignore the courts. I literally think that. I think he would just be like, the courts have become...
So do you agree a president can just do that? Do you agree that a president could just ignore the courts and do whatever the hell they want?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, what do you mean by can? What do you mean by can? Like, yes, of course. Like Donald Trump right now could just say, fuck the Supreme Court. And then what are we in? We're in a constitutional crisis, right? At that point, then then the military decides, or do they have his? Are they going to back President Trump or not? I think Trump's calculation is that if he could ignore the courts, he would. So I assume that his calculation is that the military would not back him if he tried to do this, because he is an authoritarian wannabe tyrant, and I think he would if he thought that he could get away with it. Right? So like if Hasan PIKER became president, I think he would just like flatly just get up there and just be like, what is that one line? That one, there was one American politician.
Some of you may die, but
no. It was like the court made their ruling and let's see them come enforce it. I think Vance quoted that guy. Who was it, guys? Was it Andrew Jackson? Yeah. John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it. Yeah, I think Hasan would do that day one. I think he would just start ignoring the courts. Yes.
Okay. Under threat of what though? And what guardrails are there to stop?
He would just fucking do it, bro. He would just do it.
Okay.
And then who's going to stop him, right? And then at that
you're
point,
saying he would just do it, but you're ignoring the consequences. What would the consequence of him doing that be? Do you think
a constitutional crisis, potentially a hot civil war? Or the military backs him and
articles of impeachment.
Or the military.
Do you not think articles of impeachment?
Who gives a fuck if it's articles of impeachment at this point? If he's ignoring the courts, why the fuck would he not ignore the Congress? Who cares at that point? It's over at that point. That's my point. That's my point. It is over at that point.
Okay, so let's say, right, he does all this. He says that I'm ignoring the courts, yada yada, blah blah blah. Which again, I believe Hasan would probably do. I'm not disagreeing with you here. Okay, it's just so inconceivable to me, Hutch, that you're not understanding that Trump doesn't do this stuff.
But you're helping. You're helping make my point for me. I actually think that Hasan PIKER would be more authoritarian than Donald Trump. That is what I'm saying. And if you tried to force me to choose between Trump and him or Vance and him, I would rather choose Minecraft death. That's my point.
I understand that you're obsessed with Minecrafting yourself right now, Hutch. I get it. I'm here to talk.
Who would want to live in that country? Who would want to live in either one of those countries where, who would
want to live in a country that's run by a felon sex pest that, if we're to believe the Epstein files, has killed children?
Huh? Wait, are we going back to Epstein now, or are we going back to Trump?
We go back to Trump. Who would want to live in a country?
Listen, but so far, the Republic has held. So far, the Republic is held.
So far, right.
Yes.
And who's to say that it wouldn't hold under Hasan still?
I don't know. Maybe it would. I don't know. I really don't know.
Oh, thank God. That's literally what I've been getting at, because there are checks and balances in place to stop Hasan if he was to try to do this stuff. The same checks and balances that are in place to stop Donald Trump, an alleged child murderer and killer and a convicted felon.
Here's the difference. Donald Trump wants to be like the king of the world, right? So he has a different kind of incentive. So like, I don't think he, I don't know if he's like, sharing sensitive intelligence and military operation, strategy and stuff like that.
I think it's safe to say
I don't know if he's sharing that with Russia. I guess it's possible, but his psychology is like, he wants to be like the king of the world, right? And so there's less of an incentive for him than there is for Hasan, who legitimately wants China, would prefer China to be the superpower over America. You understand? So like he has that very strong incentive. Like, do you disagree that he would probably share sensitive secrets with China and attempt to use the presidency to boost China on the world stage? Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay,
I also think that
would
Trump
lead
is
to
doing the same thing with Russia. I think he has done the same thing with Russia.
What do you think the consequence of a new China hegemon, like superpower? What do you think that looks like for the rest of the world?
Not great, Bob. Which is
no, hold on. But what do you but be more specific. What do you mean not great? I agree, but
China engages in, should we say, authoritarianism that could be seen to akin to something like North Korea. They have concentration camps, they have work camps. You just have to look at their COVID response to see how they treat their people. You have social credits, for example. Everything is a social credit out there.
I don't know how much truth there is to the social credit system, by the way. Just so you know, I don't know how much truth there is to that.
I'm not going to sit here and give China good faith in that regard. I'm going to assume the worst, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think China are the good guys. Okay. Which again, you agree with, and I've not disagreed with you. All my issue has been this entire time is it's a dumb hypothetical, because those same
I agree, it is a dumb hypothetical.
To stop Trump. You're the one who made it, man.
I know I did not. People try to trap me in gotchas because I'm fucking like extremely, literally, like very principally committed to a strategy of harm reduction and everything. And then people ask me these ridiculous questions, and then I give honest answers. And the people are like, oh my God, Hutch wants to fucking court segregationists and elect Jeffrey Epstein to be president of the United States. It's so dishonest and stupid. I agree. It's stupid hypothetical. Hutch. I'm not worried about Hasan becoming president.
Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor?
It depends on what the favor is.
What's your stream title right now?
I did bring that on myself. That's true. But I was leaning into it, bro. It's a clickbait game at the end of the day.
I know it.
When you saw that title, were you like, oh shit, what's going on over there? Maybe I should click on that.
No, because I was unfortunate enough to watch the meltdown in Lib Learn last night.
Okay. Well, you missed out because that was a good one.
No, I said unfortunate enough to watch it. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So you did see. Yeah,
I was there for it. You welcome. Got mad at me in chat.
You're welcome for the content. Don't call me a hero.
I don't get anything from this anymore. What do you mean I'm welcome for it?
You're welcome is all I'm saying. Don't call me a hero. I was arguing with Smajj because Smajj, I felt like you were taking the principle of blue no matter who and applying it in a kind of absolutist way. But that's not the point of blue no matter who. The point of blue no matter who is the trolley problem. It is harm reduction. It is like a maximalist Democrat strategy in response to a Republican Party that has become uniquely dangerous. And so if some new variable comes along and is running as a Democrat, and then you come to the calculation that the consequences of that Democrat becoming president would be just the same or worse as a Republican, then it's no longer blue no matter who, obviously. But you were treating that like it was a gotcha, so it's not blue no matter who. But it's not. That is not.
You thought I was reading it like a gotcha. You thought it was a gotcha.
No, but that's what you were doing, bro. Come on, that's what it was.
No, it's not. If it was Hutch, I would go a lot harder than that. I think you know that.
If it was what?
I think you know me in chat. I think you've known me, and even We Killed It, because you did it to We Killed It earlier. I think you've known me and We Killed It long enough in chat to know that if we were gonna do something like that, we'd go a lot harder than a really easy gotcha. Other than
I just think that you and We Killed It, and literally everybody on the panel, apparently except for Jose, I think you guys don't see Hasan in the same way that I do. I don't think you see him as like this dangerous person who would usher in a dystopian nightmare if he was given the most powerful position in the entire world. And when I look at the history of the people that he celebrates as being awesome, it looks like something I would never want to live through.
Okay, I like to think that a majority of chat knows me. Chat, do you think I have any love whatsoever for Hasan?
No, but
any love, listen, any good things to say?
Okay, but if you looked at him, if you looked at Hasan's belief system, his tankiness, his like Marxist Leninism, his vision of an authoritarian socialist government, if you look at that and see the same danger and death and suffering that I do, then I don't understand why you wouldn't at least pause to think about it, right?
Pause to think about what? Sorry, pause to think about if the guardrails would still be there if Hasan was that's my issue with the hypothetical. I haven't had an issue with any of the rest of this. I think Hasan would day one, frame one, give away state secrets. I think frame one, Hasan would try this shit. However, my issue, and it was my issue yesterday, which you kept ignoring, and I think chat saw you kept ignoring it as well, which is why you were getting a little bit annoyed at me, was do those guardrails still exist? And you couldn't say yes. And I appreciate you're now saying that those guardrails still exist. I understand that.
But they're different thought experiments. They're different thought experiments. Cool. Like, it's a different calculation if I think that the guardrails will hold. You know, that's a different calculation to one where I don't think that they would hold. Those are like two different hypotheticals. But as to who do I think would be more authoritarian and who do I think would actually check those guardrails more, Vance or Hasan, I think it's Hasan. I think he would take more actions in terms of like directly defying the Congress and the courts. I think Hasan would do more than that.
I disagree. I think we're already seeing, how many years are we into a MAGA presidency? One?
What do you mean you disagree though? Like, I don't understand how you could say that.
I think they're actively trying to press those guardrails.
I understand that. But look at the people that that Hasan PIKER celebrates in terms of historical figures, like historical national leaders. And then ask yourself, if you were to model a presidency trying to emulate his idols, what do the guardrails look like? What are guardrails to him?
The guardrails are the same guardrails. He is still under the threat of impeachment and removal from office in the same way that Trump is. You're acting like these guardrails will miraculously change overnight. No, the guardrails are still the same They're still there. They're the same guardrails.
I think that he would, like, I don't necessarily think that he would try to, he gets sworn in day one and then, tries to do like a military coup. Like, I think if he was emulating his idols, what he would do instead would be to create intense systems of control wherein like the kind of information that is allowed to be disseminated is very tightly controlled. And then through authoritarian crackdowns of political opposition and intense propaganda efforts, he would like maybe slowly build and kind of thing. But his ultimate goal, again, and I don't know why anybody in Twitch chat that is poo-pooing any of this, I am simply repeating back to you, like, his stated positions. You guys are the ones that are telling me that you either don't believe him or you don't think that his stated positions lead to the kind of things that I think they would lead to. But I don't know how you could think that. Why would you think
that's
that?
Not what I'm seeing them saying. I'm seeing them saying the same thing that I'm saying, which is he would get removed immediately.
Maybe.
If he tried to do any of that.
Maybe. Possible.
I don't think that's come on. No.
I mean, listen, if he tried to do it day one without building any kind of like alliances with like people in positions of power, then he would fucking miserably fail. But if he was like, for example, Joseph Stalin, who spent years behind the scenes, building alliances and being like a little finger in the background. That's what he did. Like, he was shrewd about it. He did all this like political angling in the background. Lenin himself even said, I don't think that Joseph Stalin should be my successor. And it didn't matter. When he died, Stalin became the guy because he had built up those like alliances or whatever. But
sure,
I don't know if that's the version of Hasan that we would get, or maybe it's a different version where he, day one, he, has a bunch of hubris and he tries to like do a coup and fails. Like either
you've got to understand that America's political systems are very different to what, let's say the USSR's was at the time, right? So we're talking about Hasan being an American president in America, in the current system. You're talking about
an American president with the goal of like ending the like American democracy. So I don't know if he's smart enough to actually like put in the work and lay the tracks over time and like listen. It's not a risk that I would like to take, and so
Fine. I think you're giving him too much credit in that he could do it. I'm more in the camp of I think he's an idiot and he'd fumble it immediately. And I think you're giving him too much credit versus someone like Vance, who is a career politician who I think could do a lot more harm than good. In all respects of it.
Listen, luckily we live in the current timeline where I think glorious leader Gavin Newsom will probably beat JD Vance in a race in 2028, and we don't even have to worry about Vance, and then it's on to the next problem.
I didn't hear earlier, who's your preferred pick for president in the next election? If I could pick the primary winner right now,
if I could pick the primary winner, I would pick Jon Ossoff.
Oh, okay.
And then the second pick would be Mark Kelly, and then the third pick would probably be Josh Shapiro. If I could just unilaterally pick, it would be Jon Ossoff right now.
So
he's got the Riz. He's got the Riz. He's got the he's proven himself to be formidable in state like Georgia. I think he's got the juice for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Sure. So it currently looks like it's going to be Kamala, right? That's what the current polls are saying, or the current favorability polls are saying, is it's more likely going to be Kamala, right?
Kamala or Newsom. I'd like flip a coin right now, I think.
Sure. Who would, in terms of like, I asked this in chat the other day and you kind of forgot, you literally read it and went to answer and then you got stun locked as you usually do. Who as a VP do you see? No, it doesn't sound like you at all, does it? Who as a VP do you see as the ideal VP pick? Because for me, it would be a progressive, someone like AOC. You can't really have two women running on the same ticket. I don't think America's quite ready for that, but who would you see as like a VP pick? Would you pick a progressive like young Bernard? Maybe he could be a good pick, or would you rather it be a straight blue, VP establishment Dem pick?
I don't really. So if the race were to happen like right now, like today, if the election was like today,
yeah. Let's assume Bernie survives until the next presidential election.
What does Bernie have to do with this?
Because he was one of my choices. Would you, would you pick Bernie as a VP?
No, he's way too old. No, I would pick someone.
So was Biden.
I would think that the best choice. Number one, it's not clear how much VP choices really affect the outcome. To be honest, it's not really clear. Like, I don't really know what the math is there. I see a lot of pollsters say it kind of doesn't matter, but you normally want to pick someone who helps you on paper, like fill in some gaps. And so if it's, Newsom running against Vance, Rubio, then I assume Newsom would want to pick someone who is really popular in a battleground state instead of picking someone like AOC. Like, I'm not sure how AOC being his pick helps him in Arizona or Georgia or Nevada or, Michigan. So I don't really, but maybe.
What if it was a ticket with the both of them? What would be your preference then? Kamala president, Newsom VP, or Newsom president, Kamala VP. She's got experience in the job, but do you think she'd just drop out at that point? She wouldn't want to do it?
I don't think she would accept a VP spot. I don't think that she would accept. A VP spot? Yeah, I think she would probably feel like that would be like a step backwards, and so I don't think she would do that. It's not going to be Kamala Newsom or Newsom Kamala. That is not going to happen for sure. Because why would she pick him? Like, what gaps is Gavin Newsom helping her fill in a D plus like 30 state? That's not really a great pick. Gallego, Vichy keeps saying Gallego, and I think yes, Gallego is a good example of, there you go. You have a Democratic senator who is like pretty popular in the state of Arizona. So that's an example of someone that helps the president fill in some gaps. Yes, that's a good pick. Or Kelly, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Sure. Fine. Okay. Well, for what it's worth, I wasn't, being a snarky little prick like I usually am for once. I genuinely was just trying to be like, hey, is it actually vote blue no matter who? And then, you seem to get mad at me. Stop being mad at me all the time, by the way. You get mad at me quite a lot. Stop it.
I love you. You're my boy. You're my boy. I love you.
And don't Pisco me, you bald bitch.
No, I mean it. You're my boy. I love you. And I just want to say this. I love you.
No,
all right, we're going to end this. We're going to end this conversation.
All right, you're fucking bald.
Okay. I mean, that's the strongest counter argument that you can make, right? Like, Hasan is too stupid to pull off a Lenin-style power grab. That is like the strongest argument that you could make. But don't play this game with me where it's like, oh, the answer's so obvious. It's like, is it though? Have you thought about what that would look like? Is this productive? Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? This is a live stream. We're here to talk about shitting your pants in a fucking Tesla and Collargate for 3 weeks. And we also talk about politics. Who gives a fuck? If you want like straightforward, constant, dry analysis of politics, there's like other channels that you can go to for that. We talk about shitting our pants in Teslas on this stream.